One of the side effects of the AI hype that's lesser known is that we notice that teams seem to get even smaller than before. Years ago, it was the Jeff Bezos' 2 pizza rule, where there was 5 people or 7 people in a team as the regular team. But we see that it's shrinking right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because VCs always ask me like, now we have the whole vibe coding and everything, can we make the team smaller? I always try to explain them that's not necessarily the case. I actually recently read an article which said that behind the vibe coding hype, only the productivity gain was only like 23% or something. So I think that actually does not change too much. But I do believe the role of an engineer changes. I think that's more important. So I do think the teams get a bit smaller because there's other roles that are taking over by the engineers because they have basically more capacity to do other things than to just to program. So I don't know if you see the same or...
And you're talking about more like a product engineer role? Or?
Yeah, you could call it a product engineer, but for example, you have tools like V0 or Lovable, which you can use to prototype things, where you used to have a UI designer doing that for you, or you were using some kind of wireframing tool, but today it's also easy to use these things. But I think it's also important to realize that the limits of what's possible, and that's, I guess, something that people don't sometimes, founders don't really understand, that if you design something in Lovable, it's like average, right? You never have a good design out of it. It's good for wireframing, good for early stage, but I don't think it makes sense to use the design generated by something on the longer term, because it's not necessarily the right thing to do.
It doesn't stand out. It's like everything starts to look very bland, like back in the days with the bootstrap, everything looked at the bootstrap site. And but if I'm a founder, I hear 25% again, that's one developer less. So there is some
I think so. I definitely there is. I think that there's no doubt on that. But the question is, like, it's not like it used to be a team of 50 with now 5 people. No. I do think that probably the teams of 50 were also too big, right? So there has been some overhead anyway. So maybe because of also maybe the economic downturn a bit, people are more realistic in the size of their engineering team. So maybe that also has a factor in it. So the smaller team makes sense. I always say that the least people you have, the better, and the less communication lines you have. So yeah, I think it's a good thing, good evolution. And I think probably with 8 people you can be as productive as with 20 if you want. If the good people with the right tools, I guess.
One of the things that I'm not so sure about at the moment is how we fit in junior developers, less experienced developers. If you only have 4 people in your team, you probably want the seniority to be pretty high. So that puzzle becomes even more difficult.
You needed to have hands to get the code written, and now the hands are replaced partially by AI, and that makes also the learning curve for new people a lot steeper, I guess. Good time.